Last night was game one between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Boston Bruins, and the Hurricanes were able to come out and really dominate that game. Find out more in today's episode of Locked On Hurricanes.
You're Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I'm your host, Jared Ellis, and you're listening to Locked On Hurricanes on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, I'd like to thank you for making this your first listen of this Tuesday afternoon. And as always, follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes. Myself on Twitter at JaredEllis_96. And I want to remind you guys that this episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. Now, as I just mentioned last night, was game one between the Boston Bruins and the Carolina Hurricanes. And this was a series that, I felt the Hurricanes would win, but you look at the playoff experience of Boston, and yeah, they have some different players than the last time we faced them in the postseason, but so do we. And they are an older team. Their core is aging, and ours is getting older too, but ours is still a lot younger. And I feel that that really kind of showed in this game one that the Hurricanes are not the team that they were in 2019 or 2020. This is a better team than it was there. The team with a bit more experience under their belt and a team with a bit more confidence, a team that frankly has gotten a lot better and a team that matches up a lot better against Boston. And you look at this game and yeah, the final score was 5-1. And that's great. That's absolutely fantastic. Because the Hurricanes, they really got into their groove in the second period and third period as well, and really just took control and forced the Bruins to play the way that they wanted them to play. But let's look at that first period, because that was one where my most of my issues come with this game, because the Hurricanes, yes, first off, yes, this is the playoffs, and teams are going to play a lot harder and a lot, I guess you'd say, faster as well. But you look at that first period, an issue that I had with the Hurricanes for really large majority of the regular season had been getting off the slow start, and that was something that happened in this game as well. First period, aside from like the last few minutes or so, maybe about the last 10 minutes, that's arguably Boston's period there. And Annti Raanta was absolutely fantastic from the opening horn to the final horn. And he really kept us in that game. And he's the reason, we went into that second period down 0-0. And that's something that I really feel this team needs to work on, getting into game two, game three, and just going forward in the postseason, is work on these slow starts. And if they can do that, I think they'll be fine, because the rest of the game, for the most part, the Hurricanes did exactly what they're supposed to do. Their offense got to the point where it was firing on all cylinders, and that's what we needed it to do. That was one of my worries, not only for this series, but just playoffs in general, because the Hurricanes offense had stagnated at times during the season. Yeah, it was starting to heat up right before, which was great, but we had stints during the regular season where it looked like it was heating up. Those Anaheim and St. Louis games and the Washington game as well, where we were really being able to put some pucks in the back of the net, and then it just goes away. So that was something that did worry me a little bit. But as a whole, like I said, this game, the Hurricanes did what they were supposed to. That second period was where the Hurricanes really started to find their groove. And yeah, it was a little bit later in the period, whenever they were finally able to get on the score sheet. But that second period is really, like I said, where the Hurricanes found the groove and they found their game and started doing what they needed to do. And that was a really good period all around. And Seth Jarvis obviously getting his first playoff goal ever, first playoff goal of the postseason for the Hurricanes as well. So that was great. And then Niederreiter as well. And yeah, Boston was able to cut the lead in half in the third period, but then you had Teuvo Teravainen, Vincent Trocheck, and Andrei Svechnikov all getting goals there in the third period and giving us that win. But again, this wasn't a perfect game by any means. I said that special teams was going to have to be important for the Hurricanes this series and this postseason. The Hurricanes went 0 for 3 on the power play. Even that ended up not mattering. The Bruins did the same thing. They went 0 for 3 on the power play, so a draw there. But going forward, we're going to need to take advantage of power play opportunities. We're going to have to. And because you never know, those are things you need to take advantage of because you're not going to always have a game like this where you win 5-1, 4-1, or something like that. You're not always going to have that. It would be nice. It would absolutely be nice, but it's not going to happen. We're not going to have those games all the time. So the Hurricanes, their power play needs to step up. For the large majority of the season, it was a top 10 unit in the NHL. And getting back to the end of the regular season, I believe it finished the regular season around 12 or 13. So again, it had been slipping, really since the beginning of March, where a lot of the Hurricanes issues started to slip. But I think the Hurricanes can really take control of this series. I really, really do. And I think that game 2 is gonna be pivotal because I think the Bruins are frankly gonna be a bit embarrassed about this, and because, it's not just this game, you also had the regular season where the Hurricanes beat the Bruins 3-0, 7-1, 6-0, alright? It ain't just, the playoffs. Obviously, playoffs are gonna be highly important, of course, but and then, the Hurricanes come in game 1 and embarrass the Bruins there as well. The Bruins have only scored 2 goals on the Hurricanes all season, regular season and postseason. So I think the Bruins are really going to come out with some fire. I really thought that's what we were going to see here in this game, and we did in the first period, but then it kind of died down. But looking ahead to game 2, I think it's going to be really, really pivotal, like I said, for the Hurricanes to really take control of this series. We will talk about what I feel the Hurricanes need to do right after this quick break. Now, folks, taking your vitamins is obviously very, very important. And Athletic Greens AG1, they know that because tons of people take some kind of multivitamin, and it's important to choose one with high quality ingredients that your body will actually absorb. AG1 is a small micro habit with big benefits. It's one thing you can do and every single day to take great care of yourself. Your subscription comes with a year's supply of vitamin D, which is so important to add water in these hot summer months when you don't get or when you can be getting dehydrated really, really easily. And right now, Athletic Greens AG1, it's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy free, or gluten free, and it contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals, or artificial anything, while still tasting good. Supports better sleep quality and recovery, supports mental clarity and alertness. And one of its best things, excuse me, is that it used the best products based on the latest science with constant testing and third party iterations. And right now, you can reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills or supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1 year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/NHL network to take ownership of your health. Pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Now, looking at the game two, we're obviously going to do a full-on preview of this, but I do think it's important to talk about game two here now because that's where everyone's focus is. Okay, yeah, it was great to win game one. Of course, it was, but this is a 7 game series, and that was just one game, and I think game 2 is gonna be really important for the Hurricanes to be able to really take control of the series, and I don't think, the Bruins are going to give that up lightly, and yeah, because the Bruins, excuse me, are now gonna be like, "Oh, crap. This is what we're dealing with in the playoffs." Yeah, because we always say, regular season, that's one thing. Playoffs is a completely different breed, and the Hurricanes are still bringing that fire and energy that they had all season long into the playoffs, which is good. That's what we needed them to do. But again, the Bruins, yeah, they're like Ian said in that crossover with Locked On Bruins, it's a different Bruins team than it was the last time we played them. They really started getting into their groove at the end of the regular season. They added some pieces, at trade deadline. So, this Bruins team, they're gonna be trying to rekindle that fire that they had at the regular season, like the Hurricanes were able to bring into the playoffs. So I really feel that the Hurricanes having a home ice is really, really going to help here because you look at all the videos that people were posting last night, whether it's fans, whether it's the Hurricanes themselves, whether it's the NHL, whatever it may be. You look at those videos. I mean, how loud it was. I mean, whether you're watching the game on TV, whether you're listening to it on the radio, that crowd was ridiculous. And don't get me wrong, Hurricanes home crowds are always really, really loud, but playoffs are, again, just like the players, a totally different breed. And I feel having that home ice advantage is really, really going to help the Hurricanes because I feel that, the crowd was just so freaking energetic last night and so loud. I feel, once the Hurricanes got their groove going, I feel they were really feeding off of that and they were starting to frustrate the Bruins. And you could look at the Bruins play some as well, whether it be towards the end of the first or in the second. You could tell the Bruins were getting frustrated and they were making passes and shots and whatnot that they really shouldn't. You could tell they were getting frustrated. And I feel that obviously the team out in the ice was a big part of that, but that crowd was ridiculous. And watching and listening to that stuff, it was hard to hear Mentor on TV, and because usually you can hear him pretty good, and I barely hear him. And people were saying the same thing in the arena. You could barely hear him because it was so loud. And I think that they really need to keep that energy going, keep feeding off of the home crowd. Again, like I said, getting home ice in these playoffs for as much as possible was really important because, again, you look into game two, Boston is going to be mad. Okay. You've embarrassed them for 4 straight games at this point. They've only been able to score 2 goals on you. And yeah, I think that the Hurricanes, they're going to need that home ice to really take control of the series because Boston's going to come out mad. That's the easiest way to put it. I keep saying it, but that's the easiest way to put it and not get in trouble with the network. Okay. They're going to be mad. You guys can obviously figure out, the other word, that we'd be saying, that's going to describe Boston in game two and really going forward in this series. But the Hurricanes are really going to need to take advantage of all of the advantages that they have in front of them. Their home ice, their home crowd, and their goaltender that they have right now. Your offense that is firing on all cylinders, and shoot your defense that is laying massive hits. And I think that that is something that the Hurricanes need to continue to work at and build off of. They're going to. They're reviewing, whether they're at PNC Arena, Weight Competition Center, wherever they're at, watching the film from that game. Hey, they're watching all this stuff. They're going to build off of what went right in this game. They're going to build off, those passes that guys are making. Those obviously the 5 goals, that we had. The hits that we were laying out. They're obviously going to build off that, but they're also going to be looking at the stuff that went wrong. Again, that first period, getting out to slow starts, really not being able to get anything going. We're going to be looking at that like, all right, what can we do to improve this? The power play, again, went 0 for 3 on the power play. Can't be doing that in the playoffs. You got to be scoring those power play goals, especially if you get to against the team like Tampa and their ridiculous power play that they have. Toronto's also has a really good power play as well. You know, yeah, we're obviously not going to play either of those teams in the next round, but say you go to the conference final, say you're playing Toronto or Tampa or Florida or heck, go to the next round, whether you're playing New York or Pittsburgh. You're gonna need to be taking advantage of your power plays. And I think the Hurricanes, that's something they really, really need to work on heading into game two and playoffs in general. But, we want to end this on a really positive note. Okay. And we're going to look back at the 3 stars of this game for me personally. And we will be doing that right after this quick break. Folks, the NHL playoffs are here. NBA playoffs are here. And if you are a betting person, betonline.net is your number one source for all of your betting stats and sports info. Find the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs, hockey playoffs, and the start of the Major League Baseball season. BetOnline is your continued source for all of your sports wagering information, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. Head to website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. Bet online where the game starts. Now, looking at the 3 stars of this game, we'll obviously talk about the official ones. And I think the official ones are pretty right, to be honest. And you look at your 3rd star being Nino Niederreiter. He has really been putting the team on his back, this season. He really has stepped up and played the way he should. You look back to years ago or a couple of seasons ago where he had a bit of a down year and he has bounced back in spades. Last season he was bouncing back, and this season even more so. And yeah, it's a contract year, of course, for him, but he's really doing what this team needs him to do. And he's one of the guys that you need to be showing up on the score sheet. You Mike Maniscalco, Shane Willis, or no, it wasn't them. It was radio broadcast guys. They had some different guys doing it last night, so I do apologize for not remembering their names. But guys like they mentioned their bottom pairing defensemen, Brendan Smith and Ian Cole. Those aren't necessarily guys you're expecting to go out and score goals. Nita Ryder, he is one of those guys where you're going out and expecting him to score goals. He's one that again, we need that from him. And he's doing it, and he has been doing it all year long. He is really putting this team on his back, and we just need him to continue doing that all postseason long. And you also look at your second star, Vincent Trocheck, absolutely ridiculously filthy goal. From behind the goal line, he just like licked it up. It hit like the back of Omar's helmet and then bounced into the net. Ridiculous goal. It was awesome. And he is a guy, he scored a goal, obviously. Then he also had assist on the Tara Vining goal. And yeah, absolutely great work from him. It was a great pass to Tavo as well. And again, like Niederreiter, that's a guy you're expecting to go out there and score goals. And I said that he was a guy that we're really going to have to look at, heading into playoffs, because he was heating up as the regular season was coming to a close, really finding his groove, which is what we need him to. Again, he's a guy that we need to be showing up on the score sheet, whether it's in assists, whether it's in scoring goals, whatever. He needs to be showing up there, and he is. And first star of the night, deservedly so, Annti Raanta. Absolutely ridiculous game from him. Insane. 32 years old. This was his first career playoff start. Crazy to think about, that, he's 32 years old and, we're saying, he's making a start, but he's been a backup. And, he really stepped up to the plate here in this game. He did what we needed to do. All the folks that, said, oh, him and Freddie didn't deserve to win, the James Curse trophy because Annti Raanta barely even played all season long. One, he met the requirements for it, so sorry. But yeah, he went out and had a career type game here. He made what was it? 35 saves on 36 shots on goal. Ridiculous. Amazing game. You just need to go back and watch some of these highlight reel saves. They're hard to describe, here on a podcast. So one, you just need to go and watch the highlights. Just whether it's condensed game, from NHL, going back and watching the game in full, or clips on social media, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, whatever. Go watch these saves. They were ridiculous, and he deserves all the credit in the world for this. He had an amazing game, and it'll be interesting to see what the Hurricanes do for game 2. And because Freddie Anderson, he said he wasn't going to be ready for game 1. Is he going to be ready for game 2? That's obviously something we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe we'll figure out something, in regards to that later today. Tomorrow it's only 11:30 in the morning right now, so maybe we'll find out something later today. Maybe we won't. But I think right now you ride Ronta until Freddie is ready to go. I think you just ride Annti Raanta. I mean, the guy had an amazing game. Yeah, and I know one thing that gets brought up is can his body hold up? We'll have to wait and see on that. Obviously, I hope it does, but he was ridiculous in game 1, and I think he's got to be the guy in game 2. He's got to be. He's got to be. And because heck, you look at last season, you with Ned. And obviously no knocks against Reimer or Mrazek there, but you went with Ned. He was the hot set of hands at the time You rolled with Ned. You didn't give that starting job back to Peter. You didn't let Reimer be a starter or anything like that. You went with the hot set of hands. I think that's what the Hurricanes need to do here. Go with the hot set of hands. And right now, that's Annti Raanta. And of course, yeah, it is worth mentioning as well. Seth Jarvis, getting his first career playoff goal, and that's awesome. Another guy, on one hand, you expect him to because he's up there on that top line with Andrei Svechnikov and Sebastian Aho. So you do expect him to, but you also look at the fact that oh, he is he is 20 years old and he is a rookie. But again, look at where he's placed in the lineup as well. So you kind of expect him to, you kind of don't. But then on the other side, Jacob Slavin making absolute amazing defensive plays, laying folks out. Ian Cole coming in to Ronta's aid and grabbing a puck, because it went by Ronta, him making a glove save. And then you got fours out there, Sebastian Aho laying big hits, Andrei Svechnikov laying big hits. Okay, every I said that would be one thing that carried the Hurricanes through this playoff is playing a complete team game. Guys up and down the lineup chipping in on the score sheet, making defensive plays, supporting Ranta. Exactly what they did here in game one. Because again, you got everyone laying big hits and everyone playing a good defensive game. Then you look at your score sheet. Seth Jarvis scoring the first goal with assists from Jacob Slavin and Ian Cole. Nino goal with assists from Tony DeAngelo and Martin H's. Tavo's goal with assists from Vincent Trocheck. Trocheck's goal with assists from Domi and Pesci. Svech's goal with assists from Aho and Jarvis. Guys up and down the lineup. That's what we need to do to win not only game two, but this series, next one, conference final, and the Stanley Cup. The Hurricanes can continue to play a complete team game. They'll make a run. But in the meantime, make sure you follow Locked On Hurricanes on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes. Myself on Twitter at Jared Ellis _96. And rate the show 5 stars on whatever streaming platform you're listening on. Really trying to boost those ratings, working hard to make the show better for you guys, and subscribe to the show on YouTube. And I will talk to you guys in the next episode where we preview game two. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and enjoy this game one win.